Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week. Even with training and domestication, some pets have still been known to turn on their owners. Exotic creatures come to mind, like lions, bears, and snakes. These stories are heartbreaking, but not entirely surprising, as the guardians were trying to achieve the impossible: tame wild beasts. Least to say, not all animals are suited to have as pets, and trying to keep them as such may result in pretty dark consequences. In this video, we'll be talking about 10 such tragic incidents of when people kept wild, unwieldy animals as pets. Number 10. Teddy the black bear. Teddy, a 159-kilogram or 350-pound black bear, was nurtured by the Waltz family of Allentown, Pennsylvania, since it was a cub. One day, as Kellyanne Waltz was cleaning Teddy's cage, he attacked her, killing her. Her mistake was cleaning the cage while the bear was still inside, agitating him by her actions and presence. Even more horrific, neighboring children witnessed the incident. After, Teddy was shot by Mr. Waltz. Just as an afternote, Kelly's husband's license to maintain and sell exotic animals had expired. Number 9. Pigs eat their owner. Oregon pig farmer Terry Vance Garner was the victim of his pigs in one of the most shocking, horrific incidents in Oregon history. One night, he went out to feed the animals, as he regularly would, but he never returned. Not long after, his family went to search for him. After a few hours, they finally found his glasses and part of his body in the pig enclosure. There's two speculative theories about what might have happened. The first is that Garner suffered a heart attack and was then consumed by the pigs. The second is that the pigs became aggressive, knocking him down and then ate him. Both are absolutely terrible. Previously, Garner had reported being bitten by an animal, and another factor to consider is that most of his pigs were over 317 kilograms or 700 pounds, which is nearly twice as large as an average pig. Their size alone may lend to the violent tendency theory, but no one knows for sure. Number 8. Cassowary. The cassowary is considered the world's most dangerous bird. It's human-sized, extremely aggressive, and will even drive out the emu and ostrich from its territory. This bird's main weapon is its talons, which each contain a 10-centimeter claw, which is why this bird will leap at their target with their feet out in front of them. One kick from a cassowary can kill a person from blunt force trauma and blood loss combined. So, maybe for the thrill of courting danger, or perhaps for some other reason, exotic animal collectors are drawn to the cassowary. In Florida, 75-year-old Vogel had been breeding cassowaries for quite some time when one of them attacked him. Remember, these birds can run up to 50 kilometers per hour or 31 miles per hour and jump 2.1 meters or 6.9 feet in the air even if they can't fly. And this wasn't the first time this bird attacked someone either. In 2012, a man in Australia was chased by a cassowary and cornered on a cliff. The bird then kicked him from behind and rolled him down the shore into the water. Number 7. The red deer and elk hybrid. Paul McDonald was killed by a crossbreed between a red deer and an elk on his farm in Australia. For quite some years, he and his family had kept animals with no incident. But in 2019, during the rutting season, the crossbreed was especially aggressive. Testosterone levels and hormones are high during this period, and males become very aggressive for 2 months. For the other 10 months, they're quite calm. Isolation and castration can help reduce these tendencies. But unfortunately, they hadn't done so for this animal. He was isolated, but that also didn't help. As Paul was out one morning feeding the animals, it attacked him. His wife came running when she heard something going on, only to be attacked and injured herself. Then her son went for help. When police and paramedics arrived, they shot the deer-elk crossbreed and tended to her and Paul's wounds. Unfortunately, though she survived, Paul did not. Number 6. Camel. What would you offer your significant other for their 60th birthday? Jewelry, flowers, a baby camel? That's what Pam Weaver's husband gave her as a birthday present in 2007. Weaver was an enthusiast who'd previously raised goats, kangaroos, emus, and bunnies in Australia. And it's actually not that unusual in Australia to have a camel. In the 1800s, single-hump camels were imported onto the continent as pack animals. Since then, they've exploded in population to over 1 million and live wild and feral. They've become quite a nuisance and a terribly invasive species. Annually, they cost millions of dollars in property damage alone. It's thought that Pam Weaver was knocked down by her camel when he he was only 10 months old, who then straddled and killed her. Though she raised the animal from birth, it wasn't long before it started exhibiting odd behavior, such as riding Weaver's beloved goat. The camel was obviously displaying sexual behavior, most likely seeking to participate in some form of mating activity. After the tragic news hit the public, people, of course, started making insensitive jokes, saying that Weaver had been humped to death. Number 5. Elephant. Bahujan Samaj Party politician Ram Lakham Verma of India owned a pet elephant that he used as one of his political gimmicks during campaigns. The elephant is also the party's official emblem. In 2003, though, during one such campaign, the elephant began acting erratically. Verma took it to a village to calm him down, which seemed to be working at first. But then the elephant grew agitated again. In response, Verma attempted to smack the elephant in the head with a sharp iron stick. According to eyewitnesses, the stick got caught in the elephant's ear, and Verma, losing his balance, fell to the ground. In response, the frightened elephant accidentally stomped him to death on its race back to the village. Unfortunately for the elephant, the locals shot it to death with their rifles, shooting it approximately 200 times in total. And what became of the political party? Their numbers weren't affected at all by the incident. In fact, in the very next national election held in India, the Bahujan Samaj Party won the state assembly election with a non-coalition majority, which had not happened in well over a decade. Number 4. Bettina the Black Widow. If you were under the impression that owning 75 snakes was a bad idea, think about owning venomous spiders, including a black widow and a brown recluse. Mark Vogel, a German man, was found dead in his flat in 2004, in conditions that were straight out of a horror film. Apparently, the heater on the tank in which he kept his creepy crawlers had burst, and all his pets were loose. Supposedly, he was shortly after attacked by his black widow Bettina, dying and becoming a buffet for all the then freed creatures in his flat. 2 entire weeks later, officials discovered him, and the gruesome scene. Pieces of him were spread about the flat, with numerous enormous spiders dwelling about the place. Number 3. Crocodile. In January 2019, DZ Tuo, an Indonesian woman, was injured after falling into an outdoor enclosure holding Mary, an illegally maintained crocodile. Or maybe the crocodile snared her by leaping far enough up the 2.4 meters or 13-foot tall concrete wall. To this day, no one's sure. However, as DZ Tuo was the head of a Pearl Farm laboratory that made cosmetics, no one was sure either why a crocodile was there. They're not exactly known for their beauty, so maybe it was just a pet. Mary had eaten one of her owner's hands and most of her stomach by the time Tuo's body was discovered. The police, army, and conservation officials all stepped in to remove Mary and other illegally acquired and kept reptiles that they found. It took 3 hours and dozens of people to successfully remove Mary, where she was then loaded onto a flatbed truck and sent to a wildlife rehabilitation center. Number 2. Humphrey the Hippo. According to data, hippos are one of the most dangerous animals on the planet. They are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than crocodiles, and, in fact, they're also known to kill crocodiles and attack anything without warning. But even with all this information, Marius Els, a former South African Army major, still decided to adopt a 1.2-ton, 5-month-old hippo named Humphrey. Els' domestication attempts with Humphrey didn't go well, as the hippo killed his owner by biting him badly. In addition, Humphrey had previously escaped his pen and had killed several calves on the property. Well, Els paid the ultimate price in this case. Since then, African officials have advised people against keeping hippos as pets because they are hard to teach, to say the least. Number 1. Travis the Chimpanzee. Keeping a wild animal, especially a chimp, in the same place you live will certainly cause catastrophe. Despite that chimps aren't as tall as the average human, they're twice as powerful in terms of sheer strength. Travis the chimp was well known for his frequent appearances on television and talk shows with his owner Sandra Harold. But one day in 2009, as Sandra and her friend Charla Nash were putting the 200-pound chimp back in his cage, Travis attacked Nash, mauling her hands and biting her face in the process. Harold used force to try to stop the beast, but that just enraged Travis even more. Eventually, Harold had to call the police, who shot and killed the chimp when they arrived. Nash went on to become the first person in the world to get a double triple hand and face transplant. Bonus: black mamba. A couple in Putnam, New York kept around 75 snakes in their home, including a black mamba. The black mamba is considered the world's second deadliest snake per the neurotoxic capacity of its venom. All of the couple's snakes were kept properly in glass aquariums and acrylic snake enclosures of varying sizes. Unfortunately, the locks on the black mamba's enclosure opened one day. The 1.5-meter venomous snake went out and went on to bite Aletta Stacy on the forearm in 2011. The venom of a black mamba can kill a person within 20 minutes if medical attention isn't sought in time. As assumed, sadly, Stacy died of the bite, having made no known attempt to get assistance. Because of this, speculation is that maybe she'd wanted to die, though there's no proof at all of this. When her partner discovered her body, he only then noticed that the snake's cage was open. Some of the snakes they owned were prohibited to have as pets, especially since over half of them carried venom toxic to humans, including their pet cobra. The snakes, including the black mamba, were eventually given over to the Bronx Zoo. That is all for today's video. Thank you all for watching. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these two videos on your screen. See you there!